Good morning. It is Friday, the 8th of November, 2019. All of our bearish indicators have come positive and Bitcoin dropped down sharply overnight. In today's episode, we'll see if our indicators are indicating further lows or are we about to bounce from here. That's what's up on today's episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. Now, before we jump in, I invite you to pause the video and read through the disclaimer. Even though our indicator set has been really nailing it, this isn't trading advice. This isn't the entire trading system. You'll need to go to the website intro-to-cryptos.ca and download that at the bottom for free. In this episode, I have 10 minutes to go over all of the indicators, and then after that, I'll change scenes and I'll look for the live chat and follow up with any coin requests that you might have. Here we're looking at Bitcoin prices on the 1 minute bar and the same Bitcoin prices on the 1 minute bar. Here we have the number of longs and the number of shorts, and it's odd to me yet that we still have so many longs, even though it's pulled back a little bit. The longs really haven't pulled back deeply, and I was expecting them to be pulling back even further. So let's jump into our indicators and see if we are looking for more upside, a recovery, or more downside. I'm starting off with the monthly view on this chart this time, and I want to point out these big exhaustion wicks all the way along. I don't know if that means it's going to continue going down, but I want to observe what's going on with the indicators as this is all unfolding now. So on the monthly view, we haven't normally been looking at it. The RSI is sloping downward, pretty indistinctive actually. So if I go into the weekly view, now we've been watching for this long uptrend to continue for quite a long time, and it's doing fine right now. So long as it doesn't break below this trend line, prices still have some room to move without really going into I don't know where land. Now over the last while, we've been watching for this specific move to occur, and there it is. So as that broke, we saw the pattern happening. We're watching for this uptrend line to break, and especially that point of the triangle to break there. And as we zoom in now to the 12-hour time frame, it gets more clear precisely where that break was. And it's even more interesting to see how that break matches up to similar breaks from the past when we had top formations. So this is phenomenal to be putting this into our pockets and starting to practice, even just imagining it, the 1, 2, 3 top formation, a break of the RSI as this is happening. All the times I was bullish here, bullish here, bullish here, bullish here. Okay, now I went short. This is how we are able to identify all of those things before they actually happen, by combining that trading plan you can get from the website and these indicators. So here we can zoom in even more closely to see where this 1, 2, 3 top formation happened and the RSI broke. We were watching for this days in advance. We saw it happen, and it's all unfolding, the 1, 2, 3s setting up, which is great to get this picture in your mind and build your confidence on how these 1, 2, 3s, 1, 2, 3, how they all nest together to give us a very clear point, especially when we match it up with these indicators. The one thing I haven't been talking about on this indicator is the oversoldness. It's not really down as far as oversold as it can get, but as we get into the closer time frames, it is brushing down to some pretty good oversold territory. And when we go to the Bollinger Bands at the end, it's going to give us a different view than these indicators are right now. Let me now go into the next indicator, and I'm going to start off with the monthly view here, and I'm in the log chart. And the question is, are we here right now, bouncing off of the bottom of this and going higher, or are we here out of a top formation and going to go through this 20 period moving average as we're coming down? So according to the monthly view, if we go out of log view and we see all these exhaustion wicks, we really didn't have those in the past. So if I pull this back and try to look for when we had those big exhaustion wicks, we had a lot more downside to come. So I want to pay attention to the potential for a much greater downside than I want there to be. I'm wanting, of course, this to be the ascending, the ascending wedge to God pattern, that it's just going to go to $100,000 up from here. But I also want to pay attention to what these indicators are actually telling us rather than what I want. So now let's go to the weekly view, get out of log view and go to the indicator set. Now we're looking at, I want to go back to monthly. Sorry about that. Monthly volume. Good, not so good at all. Really pretty lame and sad, actually, compared to what Bitcoin is changing the world. And there's all these on-ramps everywhere, and this is what we get. Let's zoom in. My mistake. Here, the weekly view. I want to see this go positive. Of course, we've had this happen in the uptrend before, so it's still a potential. But to see this negative stuff going on there, it's not so good. Let's go into my mistake, daily. This is good, but really fading off. It came down to these lows before as we were in the big building of the uptrend. It's still not terminal, but not good at all to come back that much. Let's zoom in to the 12 hour, still holding itself here. Not too bad. It's not down below zero until we get into the 4 hour time frame. So from here, we've got negative and more negative. If I zoom in on this, give it to me. If I zoom in on this, this is negative and more negative as we're going on. So on the 1 hour time frame, we can see the nature of this dumping is hard and harder as we're coming down to these levels. If I pull it back to compare to the dumping earlier, we had harder dumping here than we've had. So volume wise, this isn't as deep as we've had earlier back here, but still pretty significant. I want to pay attention to how the flavor of this changes as we zoom in. So we got dump before the break. We've got some pretty good dumping going on right here. So we had this, it pulled back, and then the dumping started like cascading, like steady, steady, steady. This is not accidental. Down it went, and the volume is picking up a little bit. The 5 minutes still dumping. We're not having a turnaround of buying volume, coming to pick this up and save it. Not even on the 1 minute time frame. We still have some pretty big dumping going on right there. Let me now go into the next indicator to see if, I don't know, this is not looking like it's going to be bouncing back from the indicator set we have so far. Now on the monthly view of the MACD, this was one of the most bearish of everything yesterday and the day before. I want to start off with the monthly view and now zoom into the weekly view so that I can see this was crossing to the negative. This gave it to us a long time ago. Out of this 1, 2, 3 top, this crossed over, and it's been giving us no bullish signals at all. All of our bull was all hope. And it was hope driven by some patterns that we're setting up here and some good volume that may have turned things around. But the 1 day has crossed to the negative, and I was kind of hoping that wouldn't happen because I really want Bitcoin to go to the moon. But it may be taking the milk run route and be back a little bit before going higher. So if we go in now to the 12-hour view, this was crossed negative as we've been talking about as we saw these exhaustion wicks, and we have this 1, 2, 3 top formation. This is already crossed to the negative. We got the big pissing off the roof formation going on here. All of it not good. And here again, we're negative and flaring wider right off of that break of the 1, 2, 3 top. So did this ever match up to the RSI that we were watching? Perfect to have all of these indicators all matching up at the same time with that 1, 2, 3 formation. Beautiful. Now let's zoom into the 1 hour time frame. It really jumped here. So it gave us a little bit of a bullish flavor for a second, but as that crossed and the volume started to kick in negative, it was pretty clear to step aside, get out of the way, or jump on the slide. So here we are, the cross to the negative again as we're coming up, broke that trend line right at this time. Really clear bear flag in hindsight, right? The dive, the big selling, and more big. We could be going down on the slinky still. What is this? Now we have to go in. I got a minute left. I'm not going to do it. Here we are on the 1 month view of the Ichimoku cloud. Still bearish, but it's got this positive twist right at the end. If I go into the weekly view, this has been interesting because the last few days I've been noticing the blue line moving away from the red line, which is bearish. We haven't crossed over at all yet, but that initial switch, that crossover we were watching, and that is still bearish. If I go into the daily view and pull this back, we are twisting to the positive. It's inside the cloud. The blue line is still above the red line, so there's still some hope for the bulls rather, for this to bounce and pull up from here according to the Ichimoku cloud. If we go into the 12-hour time frame, this still is holding some chance of sideways action, but the blue line is crossed below the red. That's kind of bearish. It is inside this 1, 2, 3 top formation. So it's holding itself there, but it is giving way to a little bit of bearish view. And generally when that blue and red cross, things follow afterwards. Let's zoom into the 4-hour time frame. And I need a count up timer to see how much I'm going over time for the 10 minutes. This is crossing negative. We got a twist to the negative. Down, down. This is cutting through. So these are all bearish signs setting up, following along the 1, 2, 3 tops that we saw nesting the last few days. Pretty crazy stuff, how all of these indicators match together with that 1, 2, 3 formation. And if you're still not familiar with that formation, head over to the website, scroll to the bottom and put your email address in to get the trading system. Don't put it off and do it later, and then you'll come back and view it. You'll get that free training. You'll say, oh, what a difference this would have made for my trading if I would have learned this pattern and put it together with all of the stages of the trade. Really great stuff over there. Go grab it. The 15-minute time frame clearly shows us the break. Really. It's harder to trade on the 15-minute time frame for sure, but I use it for confirmation when I see things in a longer time frame. Then I'll zoom in to see here's that 1, 2, 3 I'm watching on the 12-hour time frame. As it's crossing, I'm paying attention to it. Let's go into the Bollinger Bands now. Because in the Bollinger Band monthly, we've cut through the midline and we're in a bullish kind of stance. If we pull this back to the last time we cut through the midline, it was pretty good. There was some sideways action. It took a while, but off we went and we stayed up along the top edge of this Bollinger Band all the way through until we peeled off of it after this exhaustion wicks top formation. Peeled off of it, exhaustion wicks top formation. Are we going to cut back through this midline? If that's the case, we got to do it on the other time frames. Let's go into the weekly. We've already cut through that line on the weekly, and we're just bounced off of it, and we're coming back soft on it. This is, let me draw, angling downward. This is topping and angling downward. I don't like it as I want to be bullish. I don't like this. When I go into the daily view, it is bouncing off the midline right now. So what's going to happen with this? Isn't going to bounce off the midline and start its way up. This is a really important point. It could, of course, come back and down to the, let's see. Let's zoom into the 12-hour time frame. We came into this really narrow neck the last few days, which is actually angling downward here. And we were watching for what's going to happen. Usually the narrow neck means a big move. Not necessarily. It can go on for a ways. But now that we see the 12-hour is actually skewered down below the bands, generally, that's a buy signal and a reversal signal. I don't know. I'm still learning this. So let's go into the 4-hour, and it's also at a pretty extreme outside the band level. And I don't know. You tell me. The top of the band hasn't expanded wider, but the bottom of the band has. So if I get rid of the price and my drawing, we can see that the top of the band is flat almost, and the bottom of the band is flaring first. The middle is twisting negative. So I'm just observing this as this is coming out of this pattern and comparing it against the other time frames, so that as it unfolds, I'm putting this into the neural patterns. I'm studying this. So especially when the price comes outside of the bands. So this one on the 1-hour time frame has widened on both sides instead of just being flat. And as I zoom in now, this has bounced off, kicked itself off the midline and coming back down on the 15-minute time frame. Here we have a 1, 2, 3 and the tiniest little 1, 2, 3, and it's come back. So now it's a bear flag setting up for me here. So even though it is at these extremes, there's times where it stays right along all the way along, right? And for this one, when it started to break, it went wider on both sides. So further breaks going wider on both sides, more bearish. And right now, that gives me the sort of a bear flag in the movement. The bounce, bear flag, bounce, bear flag, bounce, bear flag. Combine that with our 1, 2, 3 top formations and our other indicators, and we're nailing exactly when those breaks happen. This still looks bearish to me. Everything else on the indicators is looking bearish. We're not really getting a big enough bounce here to sink our teeth into. We'll tune in later on our Discord chat to see how this unfolds, because it is right at technical levels all the way along here. And if it does bounce off of that, I want to track it. I want to record it. I want to see what's going on with all of our indicators as this is happening. So now I don't know how many minutes I went over. Let me go off the main view here and I'll go on to whatever requests you may have. And it appears the chat didn't work. Let me see if I can find that. And why is that? Refresh cache of current page. Oh, I have so much trouble with that. I don't know why it doesn't work. But I can read it over on the other page. So if you've got some charts you'd like me to go over, I will zip back to this view. And I got another 10 minutes. Good morning from England, Mr. Addy Cool. Good to have you along here. Edward Park, good morning. K4 Liberty, good morning from the east coast of the USA. You've got some good seafood out there in Virginia. I'd prefer the east coast seafood to the west coast seafood just because of Fukushima. Hello from Budapest. I think you're the first viewer from Budapest. That's phenomenal. Really. There was the time I went through all of the subscribers on my website and checked out to see where these thousands of people were from, and there's like 71 countries around the world. It's just amazing to me. All right, let me now go to a different chart. I'm going to go to the relative strength index chart. Yeah, there we go. More weakness coming in off of this. So what is going on with Bitcoin dominance as this is happening? Bitcoin dominance is easing off. That means the altcoins should be taking off. And as we go, and we'll take a look at those in a second, the Patreon Bull Market Watch is the way you can really see which of the alts are actually taking off first. We have our bull bear index ratio here. The green line is an addition of the yellow and the green from up here. So you can see that as we went up in July, there were a whole bunch of alert coins, but not very many hold coins. The yellow is alert, the green is hold. Then in, what was this? August. Pardon me. There in August, we could see again, we had 21 coins that were in alert and hold status, but we can see that it was mostly alert coins, not very many hold coins. Then as we came through into the end of September, we moved up into a bunch of alerts, pulled back a little bit in the holds. Then here we can see that we had in October, give it to me, October the 9th, that was our peak number of hold status coins. And from that time, we've been pulling back in all of our hold status coins for Binance and Poloniex. But now the last few days, you can see we've gone from a low of 7, moving our way up to 31 hold status coins. So these are not just alerts, but hold status coins. Phenomenal stuff, and you can get your access to this research of everything that's traded on Poloniex and Binance. You can get a daily email sent to you with a summary so that you don't have to come in here. You can immediately see from your email how many coins are in alert and how many are in exit or hold status. Then you can come to this spreadsheet and instantly see which are the coins that are in alert and hold status. You can find more about that over on our website. If you're one of the free visitors, I applaud you. I love having you here. I want you to learn this stuff and apply it to your life. So come over to the website, grab this free information. You can keep track of how many alerts and how many hold status coins we have on each exchange. And I encourage you to scroll to the bottom and put your email address in to get the free webinar. Every day we've got people signing up for this. I'm super excited for the feedback that we're getting and the number of questions that come in on our Discord chat too. I love it. And if you want to get more information, there are paid options on this. Let's jump into some of these altcoin charts because Bitcoin does look like it's pulling back again out of this bear flag that we are identifying here. Just want to keep a close eye on what it's actually doing now as this little 1, 2, 3 unfolds. And I want to track what the all of the indicators are doing throughout the day here. Let me go out to the 1 hour or the 4 hour view. And let's take a look at ADA. Just a brief look. Oh, I got to go back. Because on the 4 hour time frame, our exponential moving averages are just about to cross negative on this as we're breaking these levels. That's a serious long-term trading signal for me. Now I'll go back to ADA and we're looking at the 4 hour time frame. And overall, it has been making a flat formation all the way along here. It's been, a lot of range trading, a lot of setting up, and not a lot of the bottom formation actually proving itself out and changing directions yet. As it breaks out of this point, at the point of this big long arrow, I'm going to be paying attention to it because we have a 1, 2, 3 here. We have a larger 1, 2, 3 setting up here. There was a good entry signal right there. And now we have a larger 1, 2, 3 setting up here. It's getting ugly. Let me change the color of this. 1, 2, 3. Bouncing above all of this support and resistance level, testing these levels, showing strength off of this is very good. So if Bitcoin's sliding down, you want to preserve some of your crypto value, you can keep the same US dollar value now by slipping into altcoins probably. As Bitcoin goes down, the alts may be going up. Could be that the entire market is going to be sliding down, but I don't think so. Let's go into Bitcoin Cash and see. 1, 2, 3 tops here. I'd have to check into all of the indicators to see if this is a top formation or a continuation. And we know that the RSI will line up. The MACD is going to line up. We'll probably get some confirmation with the on-balance volume, and the Ichimoku cloud will give us inside view as whether or not this is bullish or not. Just by going through that indicator set, we can really get to see what's going on inside these. Let's go to EOS. Let me go over to the chat again. Oh, All Infinity, you're from Budapest as well. Phenomenal. Tiger, my name is Doug. Good to have you along. EOS is making that point of the triangle breakout that we were just looking at in ADA. So EOS was breaking up higher as Bitcoin was showing strength here. Now it's showing strength as Bitcoin is coming down. I would definitely want to go through all of the indicator set to start to see, are we getting really bullish divergences right here? This should be something that we'll see. And we'll cover some of this on the afternoon stream. We'll get into the indicator set. So is this a big bear flag setting up here? Or is this a 1, 2, 3 trend continuation building up that is going to be moving higher? And that would be a phenomenal staging area if we are going up. This is cool. This is a super cool pattern. Super cool that Bitcoin is going down. This is making this pattern. Kind of got to edge a little bit into that if it is breaking out of that, just because of the massive, larger, long-term setup here. Love it. And Litecoin, of course, the longer setup here. We caught this bottom formation last December. We were right in close on this, got the bottom formation, got our stop above it. Nothing to do after that. Got our trend continuation. It was difficult because it pulled back and gave us another trend continuation, and all good after that. Now we have the downtrending channel, right? We have the little 1, 2, 3 bottom formation set up. Called that as a trading signal. Now we're setting up as a larger 1, 2, 3 bottom formation setting up there. Even starting off really super small, wait for a month for it to come up and retest these levels and then add on. We're rocking, and then you're setting yourself up so that you are getting in a little bit. You're giving it room to do some crap, basically. And then when it's done, you can be setting yourself up. Expect the crap, expect it, anticipate it, trade for it. Start off small, expect it to come back and do some crap. It's going to. And that's when we're going to get back on. So if there's a lot of nothing to do, really. Just put on a little position, sit back, take your time. If you're watching the charts more than an hour a day, you're probably wasting your time, and you should go call your mother. You should go and hang out with your friends. You should go to yoga. You should do something else. If you're spending more than an hour a day looking at the charts and you're not a day trader, go and check out my course, because and check out the Bull Market Watch. It gives you a way to trade that lets your money work for you rather than you working for your money. So you're off doing something to earn more money. You put your money into these places. It's in position. It's doing the work. You don't have to micromanage it. We don't have to be looking at this stuff for an hour a day. Especially if you're watching several different videos a day. Find a system. Get used to it. Do it over and over again. Find a system that gives you freedom instead of locking you to the charts, sitting at the computer all day. It takes a lot less work. It does all the work for you. This is beautiful formation setting up here. I'm talking over top of it, but you can see the 1, 2, 3 is setting up as I'm talking. This is beautiful add-on position. As this breaks above these levels, it's crazy. And I know that if I go through all these other indicators, we're going to see all these setups going on. Ripple isn't as clear. We got some serious crap going on here, some serious selling, and the RSI really not looking good. And so if I've got one of them looking bad, then I'm going to assume that the rest of them are going to look bad as well. And so I'll be tightening up on all of my risk control rules. I don't see that we've really hit the big trend yet, and we can tell that there are only 31 markets on all of Binance. There are 170 markets on there now. So only a very small percentage of them are actually in a hold status, and another little bit are in alert status. We don't have more than half of the market into alert and hold yet. We still have some in near fail. We have some exit coins going on. So it hasn't really changed fully, but we can see the momentum is stepping up. Let me go back over to the chat. Don't say that. I'm up 850 so far, Doug. Go Willy Wids. I love profit stories. I love profit stories. And though they're painful, we've had some pretty good loss stories as well, of people getting liquidated, going from 21 Bitcoin down to losing 18 Bitcoin in a day. We had one of the guys who was hanging out in our chat was long on the fateful day. No, he was short here. Right, it broke down below these levels. It looked like time to go short. And it didn't work out so well. So the risk control rules are so important. More important than your entries and exits. And it's something I have to brush up and practice every day, all the time. I have to review them and practice them all the time. So let's watch what goes on with this flag now. This is a bear flag, but it's setting up as a little 1, 2, 3 reversal using our Bollinger Bands. So through the day over on our Discord chat, we'll follow this as it unfolds. I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for tuning in. Good to have you along, K for Liberty. I will see the rest of you guys over on our Discord chat. Hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, you can get your name on the big screen and replace Shelly Cunningham. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next Bitcoin live stream. Bye for now.